Hello?
Hello.
Hmm.
How are you?
All right. Uh,
Uh, I was worried that maybe you didn't get my last message.
no, I did. I did. I'm sorry. This took me a second
No,
to get
it's
in
fine.
here.
It's just
Uh,
with as many weird messages as I sent, I was a little afraid.
yeah. Nope. I got your most recent message was we're doing it tonight, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So I was just trying to gather up
All right. Who are you?
what what show and tell I could bring for this episode.
Gotcha.
Um, so I got a couple possibilities.
Okay.
One. Well, I mean, I think mainly, I don't think I showed you the Lego one, but I have this whole stash of like cases, and just fun Raspberry Pi cases here, like this one, and with the screen, and this one, and my personal favorite, this one. Um,
Uh
but
huh.
I don't know. I don't know if that's that exciting to people who aren't really into it. Um, I could unbox this power strip. I don't know how much people are excited about a power strip, but this is a really cool power strip.
Okay.
Um, they still make it because it has USB-C on it,
Ah.
on the power strip. Um, so, but I don't know if that's that exciting. What else? What else could we talk about that would um, uh, that would that would be interesting for today? I mean, like I said, my week has been I have this roundup of cases. Oh, the other thing I would love to do, but I don't think I really have. How many people do you think in our audience are Linux users?
I don't know. I can't.
Probably
I
not a
can't.
lot,
I
right?
can't imagine it's a high percentage.
Okay, never mind. We had a fun article on how to like make your command prompts turn different colors and do all kinds of weird stuff, but the, that might be a little bit obscure for some.
Say niche.
Yeah, well, this is where we're at. Um,
True. True.
let's uh, let's see what else do we do this week that was kind of neat. Um, oh, this is one that could have actually. I mean, this is one that I don't feel like it's a great pilch point, but it could have been a good one of the regular segments. Did you see that Toshiba finally sold their last stake in their notebook business?
I'm looking at that right now. It's funny. I went to the homepage
Um,
when you started talking. I went to the
yeah,
homepage, and that was the one that jumped out at me.
yeah, yeah. It sounds like something that we would talk about. The problem
Yeah.
is they haven't really been doing much for years.
Right.
So my reaction to that story when I saw someone was writing it was, "Oh, you mean they still actually own anything? Own any percent of it?" Like
Right.
that is the biggest loss in the. I was going to say that is the biggest loss in the laptop and PC business in the last, I don't know, 10 years, is that Toshiba bugged out. Um,
And now it's in Sharp's
oh,
hands.
well, I think Sharp owned it. Oh, okay.
They were
I have
partners
I have some. Wait, we talked about webcams a while back, right?
a while back, yeah, at the beginning of all the weirdness.
Yeah. This week we covered that Logitech. We got an interview with Logitech where they said, "Yeah, we know we can't. We won't even promise when we're going to get back to normal stock because the demand is so high." And
Wow.
we've actually started to see even more third party webcams
Yes.
going on because of that. Um, but I think we talked about that not that long ago, right? Uh,
Ooh.
yeah. Ostum and Papa Look are other brands that you can go with, or use your phone. Um, so I could talk about the compute. the computer that I'm that I that I need to build, but uh,
You
I
know,
don't know. What do you?
I don't think we did a webcam episode. Interesting. This doesn't scroll anymore.
Oh, we didn't.
No, we have a working from home from March, in which we
Uh,
touched on webcams, and we keep making jokes about them.
okay.
I mean,
why don't
we
I talk
talked
about that?
we talked about using a Raspberry Pi as a webcam uh, in April.
Yes, but yes,
So
but
that
we
was
have.
4 months ago.
Yep, yep. Okay.
So
While we're doing this, I'm going to pull up just how much it costs to actually get a Logitech webcam right now,
okay.
because it's changing every day,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find them. You just better right. So like a C920. Wow, you can actually get a C920. C9. What's a C920 Pro? Is that the same thing as a C920? You
Yeah.
can get a C920 Pro for $160 on Amazon, but you can get it. It's just way overpriced.
Oh,
Way overpriced.
I wonder
So it
if
seems that
any of this has to do with them changing the manufacturing because they had to put the new logo on it. Mm.
so this is interesting. If you don't care whether you get a Logitech or not, you can find other cameras.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably get more. Um,
The
Hop up,
A-
yeah. We kind of like the
Auzi.
I use yeah. M Crest. We probably should be
E-Meat.
getting a bunch more of these.
E-Meat.
Uh,
Which, by the way, E-Meat, smartest company in the
eh,
entire game because their model is the C960, which sure makes it seem like it's a Logitech webcam and better than the
eh,
C920. Brilliant.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, we have our list of best webcams you can buy.
Wee
Uh,
Tong.
some of which are in, and some of which are not.
Okay.
Uh,
This
so
this sounds like a conversation that'll be fun.
yes, all right. That's gonna have a whole bunch of tabs open with what it costs at different websites,
Okay.
because it is not as
Consistent.
you have pointed out, it's in and out, right? Like the Razer Keo. Sometimes Razer has it, sometimes they don't.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And, and GameStop claims to have it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, their availability has been interesting. Because it seems like more often than not, GameStop shows that they have these things. Now, whether they do or not, that's a different topic. But
Yeah, showing that they have it and actually having it are maybe two different things.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this sounds like a fun
All right.
topic. Did you see the other four?
Okay. Yes.
Um, for the first one, obviously, I want to talk more on the Tencent side than on the
Yeah.
because that's way more interesting right now. Oh,
Yep.
Schnikes. I did not get. Ooh, I did not get all my settings set. Okay, output is Avram. There we go. Now I can see you on all my screens, and recording is Avram. Excellent. Boy, that's an interesting idea. Nope. No experiments tonight. Experiments in the new studio. Okay. All right. I think I
Oh,
have
are you in the
everything.
new studio yet?
No, not yet. A couple weeks. The first week of September will take off because that's when we're going to do the move. Is that Friday and Saturday. So.
Okay.
All right. Record. Uh-oh. I'm missing the remote control. There we go. You would think having 3 of the same remote next to each other that I would be able to find one of them. But you'd be wrong. Okay. Uh-oh. Well, I don't know what just happened. All right. All right, everything's ready. Let us do this.
Yep.
Good evening from Plugkit Studios in Largo, Florida. I'm Scott.
I'm Abram.
And we are here with episode 569 of F5 Live Refreshing Technology for Sunday, August 9th, 2020. This show is a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. This week, we're feeling the presidential ban hammer, upset by the Apple walled garden, and jealous of the Quibi free tier. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, through a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, or a myriad of other options, through our live stream platforms, livestream.com, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, or Facebook, or of course on our website, plugkidslive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are 2 ways you can do that. You can always join us live Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern by going to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us in the studio and give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. Or you can always subscribe by going to plugkidslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all the shows, including F5 Live, Pilch Point, Plugkids Live Presents, and a whole lot more. And of course, find all of the ways that you can watch or listen. Abram, how are you doing this week?
All right, not too bad. Working on some projects. Just got half the things I need in the mail to make something super cool. If I can figure out how to do it. This is obviously very much I just got in the mail today. This is. It's an LED matrix that I'm showing. It's still in the plastic. And what I'm going to be doing with this is, I think we've talked about this before, but I got it in the mail now. I got one unit. I have to actually get, first I'm going to make sure it works okay, and then I may have to get another 1 or 2 additional so that it's long enough, because my goal is to actually hang one on the wall behind me and have it showing something cool while we do our show. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have it show what topic we're discussing or something. I don't know. We'll come up with something cool for it to do.
Okay. Well, the good news is we have an API that shows which topic we're currently discussing. So
there you go. That we could totally do that. Although I don't know if that's I would love something that actually drew a picture in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, we've got a graphic.
I guess that's another.
We have a graphic
level.
for each category.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So there's some possibilities.
I just hang it high enough that it's above my head. But
that's so funny. Well, that sounds like a fun project.
Yeah, I mean, my son and I are looking forward to doing it, figuring out how we make it do things. We have on order the special Raspberry Pi hat we need to do it.
Okay.
And so once we get that, which should be next week, then we can start programming it and figuring out how to make it display things. And I think one of the harder parts might actually be figuring out how to hang it on the wall without it falling off, and
sure.
while having a wire sort of dangle from it. Or is there an easy way that I could take like a small Raspberry Pi and put it on the back, but then it still needs to get power. So I still have to have some type of a plug going to it.
Well, that sounds like a fun little project. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes and hearing your experiences. with the screen that you've got. What's the pixel density?
So that is a 64 by 32.
Okay.
So I mean, it seemed to be the logical. I thought getting sort of a horizontal mix, and then I would probably have to get two of them. Although it looks kind of short in person, so I don't know if I kind of had this idea that whatever it is should be able to sort of scroll across, or we should be able to see some movement across. So I figured maybe two, depending on how it looks, 2 or 3 in a row of those, because you can daisy chain them. But I just bought one to make sure I can get it working satisfactorily, because they're kind of expensive.
Do your experiments and stuff like that first.
Yeah. Also, if you are willing to wait a month for them to come from China, you can get a better deal. So like, that's when I got on Amazon because I was eager to play with it. But I saw AliExpress, which sells things from China, had them for like $12 each, with $2 shipping, but you got to wait a month.
Right.
So,
or more.
Yeah. Right. So that's the trade-off.
Estimated arrival date: September 1st through November 3rd of 2021. So it'll be in there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, when you order stuff from those kind of places, I mean, my wife sometimes orders things from Wish, and she says, the funny thing is I forgot that I ordered it, and then it comes.
It's like a surprise.
There's like a surprise. Yeah. So I don't know. Anything I kind of have a timeline on doing, I probably shouldn't order from any of those places.
I bought shoes on Wish one time, and by the time they arrived, I had totally forgotten about it. And I'm like, "What's this box? Ooh, somebody sent me shoes. Ooh, I sent me shoes."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, for our regular listeners and viewers, you know that we have been in the process of moving our office and studio to a new location, and that process has started already. We're pretty excited about it. The new office is all painted and looking good, and the new studio, all the parts and pieces are ready to be assembled for the new backdrop. We're going to keep this one as a secondary backdrop for like the unboxings and things, where a big background is a bit of a problem, like a complicated background is a problem, because we want to focus on the thing on the desk. So we'll keep this for that, and then we've got for this show where a complicated background's not that big of a deal, because I'm not even half screen. Having it look cool is more interesting. We'll do it in front of the new one. I'm really excited. The new studio is, I think, almost double the size of this one. So, super excited about that. I have enough space for 3 different backdrops in a in a thing. So, really excited. Hopefully, we'll see that. We'll see that go into effect, if everything goes right, the second Sunday in September. So, fingers crossed. We got movers coming the first weekend of September. To take all the difficult stuff like this that barely fits through the door, and I'm not interested in figuring out again, because I've done it before. So really excited about that. It'll go along with our nice new graphics and things like that. It's a refresh. We're getting to do a nice refresh, and I'm excited about that, because this is the wrong shirt. Refreshing technology. Anyway. That's been my week, has been prepping the new office and studios for the move. A lot of fun, and excited for everybody to get to see it. But I think for now, let's get down to some news. This week's Nifty Gifties and F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, a tablet, a new Xbox One, games, and a whole lot more, including Samsung products and VR and AR headsets. You can get them all at the Microsoft Store, and remember that current students and active military can save up to 10% on almost everything. To find out about all of that, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. All right. We warned you that it was going to happen, that there was almost no chance that this was not going to be our first topic this week. Last week. So the executive order was signed. It looked a little different than we expected for a couple of reasons. The first is that the executive order did not outright ban TikTok. It gave them a countdown timer, which I think is more menacing than just saying, get out until you figure it out. Having a countdown timer on the longevity of your business seems frightening to me. But while we've been talking about TikTok now for several weeks, that wasn't, for me, that wasn't the most interesting thing to come out of that day. What was the most interesting was that Wechat, which is a product that nobody has talked about, got its own basically identical version of the executive order. Now, Wechat is mostly popular in the East, in Asian countries and things like that. It's not terribly popular here in the US unless you're communicating with people in Asia. Some of the communication that I had with Monster, or with the manufacturer while we were dealing with the Monster stuff at Thanksgiving, was actually done through Wechat, because it's super popular over there. It is owned by a company called Tencent, and if you've never heard of that name, that's okay, but you're going to. You're probably going to a lot, and here's why. They have their fingers in a lot of pies. They have a financial stake in Epic Games, in Activision, in Tesla, Universal Music. They are involved in a lot of things. And the idea of banning one of their few wholly owned subsidiaries could be the beginning of a pretty public fight. Because I can't imagine them being happy about this. Because, unlike TikTok, didn't seem like they had any warning. TikTok's had, a couple of weeks where they've been in discussions with Microsoft and with Twitter and a couple of other possible buyers about what to do to keep the service alive. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, by the way, Wechat as well. That was a huge shock to me. What about you, Avram?
Is this just purely on the basis of Wechat involving using money transfer?
Yeah.
Like, could they stay in business and just not do money transfer to users in the United States?
It's a fair question, and while the executive order didn't give that as an option, it may work. I don't know. Obviously, Tencent would have to have a conversation with somebody in the administration to figure that out. But that option was not explicitly written, although it might work. But it could also be that they were included specifically to rile up Tencent.
Right.
Because they're a controversial investor.
I mean, I obviously don't know enough about how much influence the Chinese government is having on these services,
Mm-hmm.
and whether this actually is a serious security threat to people in the United States, to users in the United States. But this does sort of seem like a bunch of one-upmanship at this point. Like,
This one in particular.
I mean, like, what is the basis? I think anytime the U.S. government seeks to ban a business from operating, whether it is a business that is owned by a foreign entity or owned by a domestic entity, then they should have to provide full transparency of why they would do that. And I would hope that there would be some checks and balances on this sort of thing, because I don't think we want our businesses being treated, United States businesses being treated that way. And if we treat other people, I mean, I don't think we want, you know, I don't think we want businesses being sort of seemingly arbitrarily shut down by the government because of a political consideration.
Right.
So if
which
there's going
which
to
which
be,
is we've talked about another kind of version of that, which is patent law, right?
right,
Which is kind of the government, a different branch, but still the government deciding whether or not a business can continue to operate, sometimes based on very little. So, so we
right,
don't
I
want,
mean, that's
and changes were made there to try and avoid it, right? You can't
right.
choose what court you you file in and stuff like that, to try and limit, to put some checks and balances on exactly that process. And here it doesn't seem like we have that same thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people don't, you know, are very stringent about, they want to make sure that there's, free enterprise.
Hmm.
If in order for there to be free enterprise, we have to allow free enterprise for other businesses from other countries too. And this is not, and unless there's a compelling security reason which should be public, this shouldn't be happening. Now, obviously, beyond, uh, I don't know what recourse Tencent has in U.S. court. Can they sue? Will they bother to sue? Um, what they can do about it. But if the issue is simply that they're doing transactions that they're not licensed to do, I have no idea what you have to be licensed to do transactions. I mean, people manage to do money orders all the time,
Hmm.
so I don't know. But if they're doing it in a way that's not legal, or they don't have the infrastructure to do legally and securely, then fine, have them stop doing that. It's not to say that everybody in the United States is using it, but it's really chilling to think that the government can decide the winners and losers, um, based on what companies they like and don't like.
Right. Or in this case, what countries they like and don't like.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the reason that they don't like the company Tencent is because it is involved uh,
Hmm.
with the government of China.
Right. Which the gaming industry has been frightened about this for a number of reasons about Tencent. For a while, their anti-cheat system that went into place on a couple of games a couple of months ago was so controversial that those games saw their active user base plummet within the following days, because of how much data was being sent to Tencent instead of to the developers. So there's been concern over these guys for a while in a number of places, but it was still a surprise to me that they were included on the 7th. It was it was a shock. Um, so I'm looking at a response from from Tencent on the executive order, um, to prohibit certain transactions related to our WeChat application. So so apparently the order does call out those transactions specifically, so that does kind of lend the idea that perhaps they could negotiate to eliminate it and keep going. Um, It says the company is reviewing the potential consequences of the executive order to develop a fuller understanding of its impact on the group. The company will make further announcements as and when appropriate. So they're not saying what their plans are right now in the way that ByteDance is. They've been pretty open about what they're working on. So it is an interesting and kind of precedent-setting situation, and will be definitely interesting to see what happens. I have a feeling Tencent, if they pitch what you said, how about we pull money transfers out? Perhaps they can save themselves, but I don't think ByteDance, other than selling the brand, I don't think they've got a chance out of it. But I do think WeChat probably has a chance. So we will see. They have until September 15th. Oh, my thing says 15 days. It's 45 days. For 15 days would not be long enough to close an international sale. They were given 45 days, which ends on September 15th, to figure out what they're going to do. So my guess is we won't hear anything until close to. So good news. Chances are you won't have to hear us talk about TikTok again for a number of weeks. Hooray. This week's Pilch Point with Abram Pilch is proudly powered by PureVPN, the best way to protect your privacy online and potentially bypass online bans. Is with a VPN like PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices, and you can get a special price and a 31-day money-back guarantee, all by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right. What have you got for us tonight, Abram?
So, interesting thing happened in my life recently, and I think it's probably happening in the lives of a lot of people, which is, a few months ago when this pandemic started, March, they closed down my office. Unlike a lot of folks who work in tech journalism, I actually had an office, and I had the great pleasure of going in there every day and working with my colleagues in person. And then when things got really bad, company shut it down, and the thought was we would come back in September. But our company made a decision which I totally support, a couple of weeks ago, saying that we're not reopening the office for the foreseeable future. And by the time they reopen the office, the lease will have run out. So who knows where we'll be working together again in person.
Interesting.
But what that means is, like a lot of folks, I'm gonna plan to be working from home for quite a bit longer. So ever since the whole increase in work from home happened, webcams have become a very hot commodity. Apparently, people realized that the cameras built into their laptops kind of suck. And I will be honest, my laptop camera is actually broken, so I have to have a good webcam. And the yeah, so anyway, it is actually really hard now to get a Logitech webcam. Logitech webcams are the gold standard, and they are continue to be in short supply. Back in April, my colleague Michelle Earhart did a story where she interviewed Logitech, and they said in May things are really going to clear up. Well, as I talk to you, it's August 9th, and it is very difficult. Well, I shouldn't say it's very difficult. You can get a Logitech webcam, but you will pay scalper prices. like a Logitech C920 webcam, which is the mainstream great camera. I'm talking to you through one right now. Uh, Normally that's a $60-$70 product. If you want one on Amazon right now, and if you don't want one through Amazon, you may just see a big backorder message. You can get one by Wednesday, but it's $159. I think I paid $50 for mine a few years ago.
Me too.
So um, these things are very hard to come by. Similarly, one of our other top choices, the Razer Kio, uh, tending to be out of stock. That's a very interesting webcam because it actually has a light on it. So if you're in a darker room, there's a ring around. It's a circle, and there's a ring around it, and it will light your face uh, directly, which I think is kind of a neat feature. So we maintain at tomshardware.com a list of the best webcams you can buy. We have a bunch of Logitechs on there, but they are very hard to come by. Uh, and or rather, you could come by them, but you'll be spending over $100. So if you want to save money and get something that is actually available, there you have a few choices. Now it seems that there's a cottage industry that's popped up, and a lot of brands that we've never heard of before are now coming out with webcams that you can buy on Amazon. So a quick look here at some of these well-known brand names includes Wallfront, Amcrest. This one I don't think has a name. Webcam with microphone. Um, it's Glamour. Glamour. That's a good one. Glamore. Glamour. Uh, let's see. Uh,
Auzi.
Ted Auzi. Ted Gem. Ted Gem. That's a new one. Uh, so anyway, There's a lot of these out there, and the question is, oh, here's one. Jellycomb. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Jellycomb.
Interesting.
I don't know if we've brought this up on the show before, but I have an ongoing obsession with finding the weirdest brand names on Amazon, and these aren't even close.
Mm-mm.
Like there's He Let Go. Um, there's there's like a camera one called Ape Man. There's like a
Yeah, there is.
there's one that is spelled like a loose bowel movement. Uh, that Dieyra, or it sounds like a loose bowel movement, I should say. So there are many brands on Amazon. Those aren't all the ones I named aren't really webcam brands that I just named, but uh, you can definitely find those. And if you're in a pinch, I certainly encourage people to look at the user ratings. We have tested a few. The Ausdom, AUSDOM AW615, is a fairly cheap one that we thought was okay. It does 1080p, but it has no autofocus. The Austin AWC635, uh, we like we like better. That's about $65, uh, and the Papa Look. Yes, that's a brand. Papa Look,
I was
PA
just going
four
to ask if
fifty
you had
two.
said that.
I didn't say it before because I was saving it.
Gotcha.
The Papa Look, PA 452, uh, also has no autofocus, only manual focus, but does 1080p 30. So I think actually the best of the no names is the Austin AF640, which is $90. It has a 90-degree field of view, um,
Hmm.
and it actually has a good microphone, and solid image quality. Although the look of it looks like a cheap webcam, but it actually performs pretty well. So there's a bunch of options out there for you. Um, we are continue to get in more. One that's really interesting that we're getting in soon is the BC Master. That's another brand.
I was just looking at that.
BC Master 1080p webcam that is actually on sale for $21. That claims to be 1080p. I do have some confidence in it because the company that makes BC Master is Aukey.
Oh,
Aukey
okay.
makes really fantastic power stuff, and they also are in the business of making other things like desk lamps. And BC Master is their new brand. I think maybe it's a budget-oriented brand, so we'll see if the level of quality is quite up to par with their other stuff. But that's one that they're supposed to be sending us one, and we're going to be testing it. I strongly suggest though that folks consider the different webcams out there. You can get a Logitech, but you will have to pay a lot for it, or um, you may have to wait a long time. For example, Adorama has this Logitech C920S, C920, C920S, pretty much the same thing. The S has the piece of plastic you can use as a privacy cover.
Mm.
That's a reasonable $70, but it's on back order. Um, B&H, same thing, has it for $78, but it's on back order. So you need to be really savvy if you are holding out, or if your business is paying for it and you can get reimbursement from your job, then by all means spend the $160, because the Logitech C920 is a sure thing. I mean, it is a fantastic webcam, even though it's ancient. I think they came out with it, what, 6, 7, 8 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
which really shows you
We
how little innovation there's been in the webcam space over the
to
last 10 years.
to put okay to put the Logitech C920 into perspective for our viewers. The very first live stream that we did for F5 Live from CES, who knows how long ago it was done with a Logitech C920. In fact, the one I'm looking at right now.
Right. I mean, I've had this one going on, I think, 6 years. They're fantastic, and they've really just made slight variations on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's one that comes with streaming software, and here's one that has a piece of plastic that you can put over it for privacy, and here's one, the E, I think, is a slightly wider viewing angle. So, but overall, you haven't seen a lot of advancement in webcams. And one thing that this does point out, very annoyingly, is how terrible the webcams are on just about every single laptop. Like,
Yeah.
I would hope this would be a wake up call for laptop makers. Why can't you make better webcams? We have good. It's not that they don't have enough room. I mean, selfie cams that you have on your phone are tiny. So what's the excuse that you can't put a decent webcam in my laptop, even if it's an expensive laptop, even if it's a business laptop, even if it's a $2,000 ThinkPad that's made for conferencing? The webcams aren't very good. The
Yeah.
best features that they have for these webcams are the ability to slide a piece of plastic over and cover it. But as far as the actual image quality, it's still not good. I mean, some are worse, but none are good. So, um, what's my advice? If you need a webcam today, I definitely recommend checking out the Ostem AF640, or some of the other Ostems. Uh, you can also see what we're also getting in some of the other cameras to see which ones are decent. Or if you're spending somebody else's money, you can get a Logitech C920 for $160. One final note: we were in touch with Logitech this week to try and find out from them what's going on. Do they think that when do they think that the supply and demand are going to catch up? And they said that they've actually seen, obviously, a huge surge, like an unexpected surge in demand for this product. And it's been kind of a mixed blessing for them because they can't keep up with the demand. So they said they're doing everything they can to keep up with demand, but they won't. Unlike in April, where they said supply is going to get much better in May, they said we really can't be pinned down to a date at this point. Things are going to come and go. We ship them out and people use them up uh, just as fast. So um, certainly, if you have a stack of unopened Logitech webcams, I suggest you get on eBay right now and start selling them, um, because you can probably make quite a bit. So that's the story. Obviously, people want good quality webcams. They're on video chat with their boss all day. Well, hopefully not all day, but they're on every day. They're on video meetings that they weren't in before. They want good quality, and they don't get it from their laptop.
Uh-huh.
So fortunately, you can buy an external webcam. You just may not. Be able to afford uh, what used to be the mainstream webcam.
I've got two more names for you, Abram.
Yes.
Metfoot. So I guess you're supposed to kick that one. Is
that a webcam?
Yes. Metfoot, Metfut, Metfoot, and then Hobfu, Hobfu, Hobfu.
At least, I mean, these are just kind of, we don't know what they are. They may not make any sense. Like here's one, Gesma, but I mean, they're not. They're just weird. Whereas I've seen some that it really looks like they were trying to spell something else. They were trying to sound out something else, but they spelled it differently for plausible deniability. Like, we're going to spell our brand name like some kind of a curse word. We're going to spell it phonetically like some kind of a curse word, but we're going to be able to claim that it's not one because of how we spelled it or whatever. Or we're going to spell it like some kind of bowel movement, or we're just going to have some weird drama that sounds like it's from a soap opera. Like, I want a he let go webcam. He let go USB hub. He let go of what? What's going on?
the webcam.
Yeah. So, it you can find a lot of stuff on Amazon, as I'm sure everyone in our audience knows. But I do think BC Master could turn out to be decent because it's from Aki, who are the folks who make some absolutely fantastic power banks and fantastic chargers. And just coincidentally, I have next to me here something from Aki that I was going to take out of the box shortly, which is their one of their power hubs, the Power Hub XL. Um, this is really neat. I have another one of these that I've been using for like 2 months, but this one here has two USB-C charging ports, which is something new or something unique that you don't see everywhere. And that's something else, by the way, that I think folks may want for their home office is a really good power strip surge protector, and one that's vertical. A lot of obviously most power strips are horizontal like this, and then you stick them on the floor. But if you're constantly having to plug things in, that's annoying. So something like this Power Hub XL, which is $42, has 12 outlets in it, and then five USB ports, two of which are Type C and have those Type Cs have more power. Like, I think quite possibly I'm going to test this enough power to power a Raspberry Pi 4, for example, and certainly to charge a phone. So that's something that I certainly would recommend as people look into vertical power strips of some kind, like the Aki Power Hubs, because then if you're plugging and unplugging like I am, you don't have to reach on the floor and you've got plenty of outlets. And also, you actually have an on-off switch on the top. So if you want to save power at night, you leave your home office, you say, oh, I want to turn everything off, my monitors, everything, just turn it right off.
Nice.
Anyway, that's a little aside, but do check out our best webcams you can buy now on tomshardware.com for a list of best webcams you can buy, some of which are very expensive and some of which are very affordable.
Very nice. I got two things. The first is that first video stream we did was CES 2012, which puts us 8 years out with this C920. So that's interesting information. And there's also a listing for a webcam that says Future Charger, which suggests to me that it will be gaining new capabilities at some point. Yes.
Well, it'll supercharge your future because it'll make you look so good in your video meetings that everyone will at your job will want to give you a promotion.
Seems like maybe you should be writing marketing material, because that was pretty good. Oh my goodness. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. There are some really funny names, but then there are also some that are some quality webcams that you can still get. So that's important to take a look at. And as always, Avram, thank you. And then I can't wait to see what we talk about next week. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Razer. Get all the accessories you need to up your game on your PC, console, or mobile device from Razer. Whether you're looking for a gaming mouse and keyboard like we use here in the studio, possibly a webcam and light depending on the day to up your Twitch stream, or an entire gaming setup like the Razer Blade 15, you can find it all at Razer by going to f5live.tv/Razer. Okay, so we've been talking for a while about streaming. Not streaming to Twitch, but streaming a whole game from a server to your device, whether it be a phone, computer, tablet, console. Concept's been around for a long time, because I think we all remember OnLive and the fact that they were seemingly way ahead of the technology curve. But since they went away, we've seen PlayStation Now, Google Stadia, Microsoft's got Project xCloud, which is coming to devices in a month. And there's some other ones in development. I think we talked about it was maybe EA had an in-house one that they were working on. So it's definitely a technology that's coming and going to make a big impact on the industry. Maybe. So here's the problem. Even though we talked about that Microsoft had through test flight been testing Project xCloud streaming on iPhone, it turns out doesn't matter, because Apple's not going to let them release it. Apple's App Store policies require that every game be approved by them and be individually listed by them, which means that a service like Google Stadia, Project xCloud, even the service that launched from Facebook on Friday, Facebook Gaming Marketplace, none of that is possible on the iPhone. Google Stadia has a mobile app where you can browse and purchase the games, but you cannot use them. Facebook's game marketplace allows you to browse, interact, but not play. And Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass is not going to list game streaming at all. Maybe it'll have a, oh, sorry, your device doesn't work. But it will also not work. All of these companies have responded. Not Google, because Google's been annoyed about it for a while. Everybody else is new to the annoyance. Microsoft responded basically saying that Apple is totally missing the concept of the future of gaming. Facebook said we had to completely blow away part of our app for iPhone because that's the reason why the app wasn't being approved for iOS, and they wouldn't tell us that. And it's not even just gaming that's mad at Apple, and we know that. We've talked about that a lot. But there's antitrust in the EU. There are 3 or 4 cases, but this is like they're messing with not just the big boys, right? Because you're talking Microsoft, Google, Facebook, definitely the big boys. They're putting their foot down on big name companies, but they're really ruining the customer experience for their own customers. Which, when Steve Jobs was in charge, it was theoretically it was all about the user experience, and if something was going to make it better, they'd figure out how to make it work. But it doesn't sound like Apple's even interested in figuring out how to make it work here. They've got 3 of the biggest names in the tech industry saying we need to figure this out, and Apple's like, no, you just can't have the app.
Well, it seems like really straightforwardly anti-competitive, right? Because these games, like, obviously Apple's not against gaming, mobile gaming. There's plenty of mobile games that you can buy in the App Store, but Apple gets a cut of all of them. So what they probably see when they look at Project X Cloud, Stadia, Facebook Gaming, all those, they look at them and they say, oh, we aren't making money off of this. We need to get our cut. We need a piece of the action. So maybe that's their negotiating position, but it is a very antitrust type of position that antitrust was designed to stop, because they're using their competitive leverage of making these mobile phones and tablets to stop their competitors from being able to sell software to those folks. That's the definition of anti-competitive.
Right.
And you've just answered the question, my son's question. So my son is 8, and we were having a discussion the other day. Sometimes you have to have the talk with your kids. And he asked me, Dad, why don't we own any Apple products? Why don't we own an iPhone or an iPad? And I said, well, those are good products, but we don't like them. We don't think that they're, we like the flexibility that you get with Android. We're like, well, what can you do on Android that you can't do on iOS? As well, you can sideload apps. And he said, oh, okay, you can sideload apps. But to be honest, that felt a little bit of a lame explanation, because when is the last time I sideloaded an app? It's not often. I mean, Fortnite, I think, is a good example of an app that people would sideload because you can't get it through the Play Store. But there's not a lot of examples like that where there's something that's not allowed in the Play Store that people really want. But here's a great example of something that's not available for Apple that people really want and need. So I think this really makes the point. Like, Apple is a walled garden, and this is a very hypocritical position for them to take, because they don't review every movie on Netflix to make sure that it's a good enough movie for their audience. They don't review every song on Spotify to make sure that it's good enough song for their audience. So what makes this different? I mean, granted, perhaps if Apple thought they could get away with it, they'd ban Netflix because Netflix competes with Apple TV, right? So by now you don't think so?
I'm in concept, yes. I'm with
I
you
mean,
conceptually. Yeah.
I mean
The
it's not. I
the
mean,
snarl on my face was there's one and a half things that were worth watching on there. I got my free year of Apple TV Plus, and I've watched a series, one and a half shows, and I'm like, well, that's everything that there is.
yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about whether it is a good competitor to it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that it's a competitor,
sure.
right? And
And Beats
I guess
Music, I
they,
mean
I guess,
Apple Music, is a
yeah,
is a competitor and a real competitor for Spotify because they're number two to Spotify's number one position. Um, and although technically they do kind of approve all of the songs that Spotify has because they tend to be on both, but uh, if somebody wanted to list something on Spotify and not on Apple, they can. Just like the
right.
podcasts, right?
So
You can list. There are podcasts. We're looking for a better term, by the way, for non-podcast podcasts. If viewers, listeners, if you got a better name, we're very interested in that. Anyway,
what's a non-podcast podcast?
uh, an audio show available only on one platform, which makes it not a podcast because podcast is syndicated via RSS. But like Michelle Obama's thing, or um, what's his name, the guy from Fear Factor, they're both Spotify exclusives.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, the Joe Rogan Experience. Right. They're both Spotify exclusives now. Well, they're not podcasts.
Right.
So there's definitely exclusive content that Apple has no control over on Spotify. There's two great examples. And yet, I mean, they have definitely given Spotify trouble over the years. The fact that Siri wasn't able to control your music if you were listening to Spotify, they've given them trouble. But they've never said, well, Spotify can't be on here because we can't control it. They did with Google, but that was a whole different. They said that to Google Voice, but they've never said that to Spotify. They've never said that to Netflix or Hulu, all of which they compete with. What is it about game streaming that either has them scared or has them watering at the mouth over
Maybe
extra
they
money?
feel like they can. Maybe they feel like there's a lot of money in this because anytime someone sells an individual mobile game on the App Store, Apple gets a cut. Yeah. Now, it's interesting because doesn't Apple get a cut of subscription revenue? Apple gets a cut of subscription revenue if it's sold, if the subscription is paid through Apple, right?
Correct.
But if it's not paid through Apple, if I pay for my Netflix on my own credit card,
Nothing.
then Apple doesn't get a dime, right?
Correct.
So
it's the reason why
maybe
Netflix doesn't allow you to sign up on an Apple device anymore. You have to go to your browser to sign up.
This a while back.
Yep.
So when you think about it, maybe what Apple is thinking here is we're not getting money out of this, or we're not getting enough money out of it. I don't know if any of these companies have made an overture like, hey, we'll give you a kickback right here to let you to let us onto the store.
We'll include you in the revenue sharing model that we include the developers in. If it's hours that are played on an Apple device, we'll include you in the revenue share. Yeah, that might get their attention.
I mean, maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe that's the leverage that they're using. On the other hand, maybe they've done the math, and whatever they would get from these is not enough to offset the possible losses of people not buying as many games. If they really think that these are serious competitors, I'm not sure that Project X Cloud is going to stop people from buying Apple games on their iPhone
right.
games for their iPhone. But
right, because I can't imagine that the environment and the social construct in which somebody would have their phone out with a controller attached to it and the whole 9 yards to play Halo Infinite is the same as the environment and or social construct in which somebody plays something like the Jurassic Park game or Words with Friends. You know, I don't think they're the same social construct or the same environment. So I can't imagine that being able to stream Halo Infinite to your device is going to stop people from playing Pokemon Go. So I don't know. It's all very strange. There are a number of complaints from obviously some very high-profile companies. And like I said earlier, there are a number of antitrust cases that are actively pending in the EU. There is a very active antitrust investigation that's happening over there, specifically over the walled garden and the tight grip that Apple holds over the App Store, and the fact that you cannot sideload apps. Specifically, the excuse that you used with your son, the lack of that capability in any meaningful way is part of the antitrust. So, and the fact that the only way you can do it with any regularity is by using a Microsoft product is ironic, but it's not available enough to be an option. So, the important thing to note here is that if you're an iPhone or an iPad user, you will not be getting Project xCloud when it launches in a couple of days, couple of weeks. Facebook Gaming doesn't exist for you, and neither does Google Stadia. So it's definitely a diminished user experience, and we are all hoping that there's a way past this. This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by RiffTrax. Make fun of movies, but let these guys do it for you. Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy, the former stars of Mystery Science Theater 3000, are back and doing what they do best, creating commentaries for Hollywood blockbusters and B-movie oddities. It's like watching a movie with your funniest friends. And to find out what full-length features, what short films, and what live events are coming up, you can go to f5live.tv/RiffTrax with an X. All right, so here's a brand that we did not anticipate talking about in the year 2020. Google Plus is in the news this week because the inevitable class action lawsuit that resulted from a bug in their API that existed for 4.5 years was finally settled. Essentially, what had happened was Google Plus profiles gave you the ability to have both public and private information, obviously, as most social networks do. The problem was the API did not limit access to the private information. So, if I knew that plus Avram Pilch was Avram, then I could browse the API, put in his information, and the private stuff would come back anyway. So that existed for many years, and when it was discovered was right about the time that Google was giving up on the platform anyway, and that was kind of the final nail in the coffin. A couple of users got together, put together a class action lawsuit, and it has been pending for a year. It's been in the process for about a year. A settlement was reached, and if you had a Google Plus account between January... that's interesting. This says second. I believe it was first. January 1st, 2015 and April 2nd, 2019, you are entitled to $12.
Hey,
Woo-hoo!
I was thinking about this. $12 is, well, what could you get for $12? You can get you forgive my one track mind. You can get a Raspberry Pi Zero W for $10. That is, that is a third. It is a third of a Pi 4. It is a
Oh, it's a third of a
you
Pi
can get
4. Okay. So if you had a Google Plus account and an iPhone 6S, you can pool your class action money from the two from the two settlements and get almost all the way to $30.
yeah,
You're
almost
pretty
right.
close. It'd be 28,
Yeah, yeah. You'd be very close. I mean, it's really 35, but
but 28's closer than 12.
yeah, get close. That and maybe maybe something else happened to you. I don't know. You yeah,
Equifax.
it's I mean Equifax. Yeah, wait, I never got any money from Equifax. But all those things, they never really give you money, right? They just give you credit monitoring to monitor the stuff that they did to you, right? Um,
If you could
so
combine, if you could combine the annual cost of all the credit monitoring services that you and I have definitely been owed from the
yeah,
services that we have to use or that we test out and have accounts on.
yeah.
If we could combine that, we'd be in good shape.
It occurs to me though, when I read the story, that maybe the time is right for Google to go back into the social networking world, because Facebook has gotten so much negative publicity.
Uh huh.
People don't trust Facebook with their data. There's a lot of negative attention to what Facebook is allowing to be done on the platform in regard to disinformation, uh, information that's very controversial that they're allowing to be used and to be used in advertisements. I think Google could. I think Google has an opening if they wanted to launch it. I mean, to launch a new thing. Google has been known to kill something and then bring the idea back with a different name a bunch of times. Obviously, they couldn't call it Google Plus again. Google Plus has a very bad reputation, which is a shame because I had a Google Plus account,
Uh
so
huh.
I'm going to get registered for those $12. Um,
I already
and
did.
I and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. My main problem with it was there was a lot more going on Facebook, but
Right.
like everything else, uh, when we talk about instant messaging and are people on WhatsApp or on people on Snapchat or people on WeChat,
Telegram.
uh, Telegram, whatever they're on, like it just seems to be. It doesn't really seem like there's one that has fantastically better technology than
Mm-hmm.
another. It's like, where are the people that you're talking to? So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I still spend a lot of time on Facebook, and I'm not a huge fan of Facebook as a platform, but I spend a lot of time there because that's where people who I know are,
Yeah.
right? Um, but if but consider this, Google has an advantage because they most people already have an account with them, which is what they were trying to leverage with Google Plus.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to say, hey, you already know us, you already have an account with us, good chance you have a Gmail account, so here let's put you on our social network, which was pretty much, as far as I could see, the same thing as Facebook. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
would the look and feel was slightly different, and they had this weird thing at first called circles, which a lot of people couldn't uh, quite uh, quite master. I actually had a lot of followers on Google Plus because somebody put me in a recommended circle,
Mm.
and I got followers that way.
I got
But I
followers.
found that it
I got followers because I put somebody popular in a circle called um, moron journalists. Apparently, I struck a
wait,
nerve.
is that where they were coming to mind from?
No, it wasn't you, but it's somebody you know.
Oh, okay. Uh oh. So so anyway,
I was
I have
messing
to
with
ponder on
somebody
that.
for the most part. I was
So
messing with somebody. I don't
so
like him, but he's a good writer.
yeah. So anyway, right. I think it's obviously a shame that there was this big breach, and Google
Mm-hmm.
should pay, and they're going to pay. But as usual, the lawyers are the big winners
Mm-hmm.
in these things. But if you had a Google Plus account, which a lot of people did, even if you didn't purposefully set one up, you should definitely check out the link that we have on plugitslive.com/the upstream,
Yep.
because you could get $12, and I recommend that you either pool that with another $23, or you just go out and spend the $10 of it and get yourself a Raspberry Pi. You'll have a whole computer that is more powerful than the computer that you spent $1,000 or $2,000 on in 1983 for free from this lawsuit. So think about it that way.
That's pretty funny. Well, like Abram said, there's a link on the website. It doesn't take any time. It took me about a minute and a half to put everything together. Granted, the form was very similar to the one from Apple, so I think my browser autofilled a good portion of it. But yeah, I mean, it takes just a minute, and what's the worst case that happens? You don't actually get the money. You probably won't not. So give it a shot. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You know you get your free shipping, but there's a whole lot more. You get free music with Amazon Prime Music. You get free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video. You get free games and a free subscription with Twitch Prime, and a whole lot more. You can learn more, get a 30-day free trial if you're not already a subscriber, and even purchase it as a gift, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. Almost said join us. I don't know why. Anyway, so Quibi. It is my weird obsession because I still don't quite get it. It is, for those who don't know, and if you don't know, I don't feel bad because a lot of people don't, and that's the problem. It is a short form video platform. So think TikTok, but made by professionals. The concept is essentially that you can watch the content in between other things or while you're waiting for a thing to start, because episodes are all guaranteed less than 10 minutes. So it's kind of a what to do while you're wasting time type thing. It's not expensive. It's $5 a month, but just like the comment I made about Apple TV, Quibi also kind of doesn't have anything. There's nothing particularly exciting to get you to subscribe. For me, it was all about Reno 911. I did my 14-day free trial, and I was done with the content I wanted to watch, because I think there were only 12 episodes. So it was a one and done. After my trial, I was done. I wasn't going to pay $5 a month for more of it, and that seems like the general consensus. And as such, the company is running an experiment, apparently right now only in Australia and New Zealand, but we're hoping to see it expand past them, where they're taking a page out of Peacock's book, and they have added a free ad-supported tier. Now, when you think about wasting time content, you think about platforms like TikTok or Facebook Watch, watching America's Funniest Home Videos or something like that. It hasn't been called that in probably 30 years. And, things like that. 4 or 5 minute things that if you don't finish it, you're not going to be sad. Those are all free and ad supported. And so I think people are kind of used to the concept of the thing you open to waste a couple of minutes not being a charged platform. So I think I think their eyeballs would go up if they implemented this on a wide scale.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like something that's worth paying for. I know we say things are just $5 a month, but it's like, water torture or whatever, the amount of subscriptions you have is like a
Yeah.
constant drip, right? So you got, all the things every month that you're subscribed to, that you pay for, that you bill on your credit card. It just is a constant drip, drop, drip. And so just throw another $5 on there. No, I don't want to. I want to
Mhm.
minimize the amount of things that I'm charging every month. So I think that's a hard sell. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter whether it's $5 or $15. Well, I mean, it matters, but I'm just saying, like, there's things that are worth it and things that are not.
Right.
And
And even like we've
I mean,
talked about before, even sometimes the things that are worth it, you look at and go, oh, I might cancel this. because
right,
we've had because
exactly.
we've had that conversation about Netflix, possibly the leader in original content right now. And even then, sometimes we're like, I don't care.
Yeah, I have to say Netflix has gotten to have more stuff lately that I have to watch,
Yeah,
so that I
true.
haven't had that urge in a while. Although I have had times where I haven't watched Netflix in a few weeks, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Umbrella
wasting money.
Academy
But then
season 2.
yeah, I was gonna say that I just finished it.
I watched it the
Just
first day because I have a problem.
Yeah, I just finished it 2 days ago. I mean, I zoomed through it, but I didn't get through it till like 2 days ago. Yeah, like that alone, folks. If you haven't seen Umbrella Academy, watch both seasons of Umbrella Academy. What a great show! What an amazing show! Oh, I love that show. Now I'm
100%
sad.
agree. 100% agree.
Now I'm sad because I'm not going to see any more of it for however long. I hope they renew it, but even if they do, it will be a while. But
That's
that's
a
the sad thing about binge watching. You're like
Oh,
you're
yeah, I
now
know.
you forget what happened. Um,
Thank
but
God they
yeah,
did
Quibi is
that
not gonna.
recap at the beginning of the season.
Yes, um, with Quibi, it's not. It's those type of short things. Although, aren't they doing The Fugitive or something on Quibi?
Yep.
They're doing some like really ambitious drama for something that. How long are the episodes? 5 minutes? Ten
Less than
minutes?
10. Guaranteed
Less
less
than
than
10.
10. That's the rule.
So how many episodes do you get through and feel like you've seen something?
Uh, that one, I think I was looking earlier today. I think that one had 14.
Okay. It's so 14 episodes, that's 140 minutes at the most, so that's like 2 hours, so that's like one movie.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
I also don't
14. So the first one's
I
8, the
also
second one's 8, 8, 7, 6, 8, 6. And the next episode is tomorrow.
I also don't kind of abide the idea that if it's an ongoing story that there's such a thing as an episode almost anymore. Like you have
Mm-hmm.
you have a season where you're sitting there watching Umbrella Academy and there were 10 episodes, and yeah, I watched episode after episode after episode, but I really can't tell you what happened in the third episode versus the fifth episode. It's all just one big continuum,
Yep.
right? Which is
My
different
when
than other shows.
when my brother was explaining to my mother Stranger Things, because on the 4th of July, I was up at 3 to do it, and and then I was a little tired later, so we had to explain to her what it was. My brother said it's kind of a show, but more like a very long movie with bathroom breaks.
Yeah, I mean that's a way to look at it, because like when you watch, when I know when we were younger, when you're growing up, the rule of TV was that you had to be able to jump into the show at any point,
Mm-hmm.
and every episode stood alone, which was kind of lame because nothing really changed from one episode to another, just so you could keep jumping in. So like, and it's kind of like that with a few procedural shows now, like Law and Order. You jump in and it's like, oh well, if I missed the earlier episodes, it's probably okay. but there's really no differentiating. So if you are Quibi and you say, look, I've got this show called The Fugitive, which is like the original movie and show, I think you're going to want to watch that in order to see. So you might actually, if you really care, you might actually be sitting there for 140 minutes anyway.
Right.
If you really want to know whether he finds a one-armed man or not, right, then and you're going to be sitting there anyway.
And but again, even so, I don't know if $5 a month is enough to watch
it's not worth,
7-minute increments of a story about the fugitive. And
no,
the
it's
fact
too
that they're
disposable.
Right. And the fact that they're being a little heavy-handed in it, in the same way that Apple is. You know, Netflix releases everything at once for the most part. There are a couple of exceptions, but they've pretty much stopped even playing that game. Netflix releases everything at once, so if you want to subscribe to watch a thing, you can subscribe to watch the thing and then back out. There's people who do it, and that's fine. And Netflix seems to be fine with that, right down to the fact that if you haven't used it for a while, they're going to auto-cancel your subscription, which is something I like. That's, you know, a responsible type thing. But with Quibi, they release episodes weekly. So it's not like you go, oh, The Fugitive, I really want to watch that. And you sign up for your 14-day trial or you pay for your month. Well, it turns out there's only 6 episodes out so far. Oh, sad story. Yeah.
You could just wait till it's over, though.
Right.
Couldn't you?
Right. But when is it over? I don't know. Because you can't get into the listing without an active subscription. So
I don't care enough to.
Oh yeah, me neither. Like I said, Reno 911 was all I was
sure
there
he finds
for.
Hint. I'm sure he finds the one-armed man. If not, maybe they'll make another season where he finds the one-armed man.
I say, if not, then it's not written correctly. But I would very much support the idea of a Peacock style ad supported version. I know it hasn't worked for everybody. You know, it didn't work for Hulu. They ended up getting rid of it. And interesting, selling that division to Yahoo, which I thought was interesting. Which I don't think exists anymore. Anyway, but Peacock seems to be happy with it. It seems to be working for them. And I'm not going to lie, I've been using it over there because, hint, Sliders is available on Peacock. Yep. That's all I care about.
Interesting, because it wasn't an NBC show.
Kind of.
That was a Fox show.
Kind of, because seasons 4 and 5 were on Sci-Fi. So it was a Universal show in the end.
That's right.
It was 3 seasons on Fox and 2 on Sci-Fi, so it ended at Universal. Which is why when it was on Hulu, it was all 5 seasons, and then just the first 3 seasons, and then none. As it slowly backed out based on who owned the season, which I thought was funny. But yeah, I've been using it over there. I mean, yes, the ads on Peacock are oppressive, so if they're going to do it, they need to do it better than that. But you know, in general, the concept works. If there's only a couple of things that you're looking to watch, the idea of ad supported really kind of makes sense to me. So hopefully we'll see that leave just Australia and New Zealand and start making its way to the rest of the world, because I would actually use it under those conditions. So just putting that out there, Quibi, I'd actually use it under those conditions. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We always appreciate our live viewers that take the time out of their day. If you didn't and would like to in the future, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, you can go to f5live.tv/join us, or find us on one of the streaming platforms, livestream.com, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. If you can't join us live, that's okay. Plughitslive.com/subscribe. You'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can subscribe through social and podcatchers and all of that. There's lots of ways that you can join us. And I guess with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we will see you guys back next time. Ciao.